Welcome back to the Big Ideas Show. Susanna Howard from Living Words. Welcome along.
Thank you very much.
You've been on very recently, haven't you, talking about Normal ? Festival of the Brain. But today we're here to talk about Living Words and the theme of tackling isolation and the space to be heard, which was something that came up, wasn't it, from our discussion. So that's what we're going to be coming back to.
Great.
After we roll those titles. Susanna Howard in the hot seat. We're here today, aren't we, to talk about how we can give people the space to be heard in this ever more important fight to tackle isolation. And I want to hear, this is a universal issue, but I want to hear first about the specific area where you're working with this issue, with your work in Living Words. So, yeah, let's give everyone out there an overview of what you do at Living Words.
Okay, so Living Words is an arts and literature charity, and we've been going for about 11 years. I started the work 12 years ago, and what we're primarily known for, what we do is we work with writers and actors, and we run residencies in care and nursing homes, working one-to-one with people who are more isolated people in the care and nursing home who are experiencing advancing dementia. So we work often with people who are solitary in their rooms or people who are perhaps quieter residents. And we have a process, it's a 7-stage sort of methodology that we have where we work with people up close, one-to-one, and we write down their sounds and words about how they're feeling about life at the moment. And this is a really slow process. It's quite a meditative process in some ways. And over a long period of time, we're co-creating with that person what they want to be in their book and what they want people to hear about how they're feeling right now about their life. So it's not about it's not reminiscence therapy or anything like that, although that obviously has its place. It's about how does a person feel being alive now in a care home with advancing dementia.
Okay.
And we also, about 3/4 of the way through the project, we start working with members of staff so that they can have their own book about how they feel about life as well and how they feel about working there. And then we start working with staff, looking at why did I do this job in the first place? What was my impetus to be here? We have mindfulness reflection on that, and then we have all the people that we work with have their own book about how they're feeling, which is their own Living Words book. And with staff, we look at those books and we look at kind of like a lit crit actually. You know, what is the person saying? What's interesting and unusual about their way of expressing themselves, and how can I use that going forward in my work with them? Okay,
that's nice, because I was just about to ask you the question, but you just about what's the added value of, rather than just talking about it, because, you know, the space to be heard, I was thinking very much of, you know, someone there to listen to you, but I love this extra element that you just described about writing it down. And then, would you say, and then what people can, when you read, you feel like it's like when you read a book or you see something about someone, you feel like you understand a little piece of them and it enables you to connect.
Yeah, I mean, the power of the written word, it has tremendous value within, well, for everyone, but within an environment, you know, within a care home environment. It can be something that maybe, you know, people might be saying the same things all the time and it just becomes part of the furniture, part of the wallpaper, and, you know, and so we don't listen to that. It's a natural thing to happen. You know, we really support care and nursing staff with the work that we do. You know, we believe as an organisation that far too much is expected of them within the care and nursing environment, and really our job is to go there and as artists have this luxury of time to sit with people and to you know, have their words written down, and then we're giving that to the staff for them to read it with the person.
Yeah.
But it's really, I just want to make one point clear, is that it's not about the person that we're working with making sense. It's about what is sense for the person that we're working with. So it's not for me, you know, using the methodology that we had to think that you're saying a particular thing, and as we're co-creating it and editing together, it's what has resonance for you, because then someone else is going to be reading these words with you, and it's about it having meaning for you.
Yeah,
it's, you know, it is. And I think, you know, if we think of when we sort of go out for drink with friends or hanging out with people, often we don't know, you know, you might be saying something, you don't really understand what you're saying, but it has meaning for you, it makes you feel good, and that's, you know, and actually that's really important as a human being, to feel that sense of both feeling understood, and also when we're working with someone, we're saying person's words back to them, it can have a real resonance.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to be aware that a lot of the people that we're working with, it can be from 5 to 10 seconds to 5 to 10 seconds, or it can be from minutes to minutes. We're reintroducing what we're doing all the time within the process.
Yeah.
So the process is very much the outcome, and so because of that, a person can sort of come to in the exchange and hear the words and say something like, for example, that's what I think, or that yes, that's me. And then our job is to say, yes, these are your words, and then re-engage in the process.
That's really nice. Really nice that they can understand themselves, because often, in many situations we don't understand ourselves, and being able to hear ourselves back is a wonderful thing. And I really love this, because this is a lot of what I do, kind of with the big idea, kind of shared values of kind of spending years of stuff in my head and going, right, no, now is the time. It's about speaking it out. And I love that you guys take that to one step further and go, no, we're going to write it down, because would you say it's right? It's like the writing, you have to be, speaking is a lot more free and easy, but writing, there's a certain amount, a bit more, not necessarily getting it right, because I know that you're saying that's not what it's about, but it takes a little bit more time, so you have more time to consider.
We're not working in the intellect, we're working in the emotions, and that's what's really great, is we're responding to the emotional reality of where a person is. So I think, again, personally and organisationally, I don't believe in endorsing anyone's reality. If you're going to tell me that, there's a big fish there and you're in, whatever, Sri Lanka, I'm not going to go along with you with that. But I'm going to validate the emotions. Well, you're feeling something right in the here and now. Yeah. That's I believe, that is bringing that to the present for you. So I don't believe that that's about the past. Oh, you loved that. You loved the fish and you loved Sri Lanka. No. I think, something in the present is making you feel that. Okay. And so that's what we engage with, and then we use words as the accessing point to that emotion.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And because I remember you rightly picked me up on this word, not using the word suffering, and I love it's something that I've started to explore, like the importance and the value and the etymology of words. What is it that's so important for you about not using those words and your specific choice of words?
Well, I think you're talking about, and I just want to say as well, at the moment, as far as I'm aware, I'm not living with dementia right now, as far as I'm aware. And I am not here to speak on behalf of people who are living with dementia, I could introduce you some people who could come and talk on the Big Ideas show. The people that we're working with are people in care and nursing homes who are unable, because of the cultural and social environment they're in, and unable to come here because of the way that we view communication now. And so I am not here in their stead. I'm here until they can be here, until culture change in care homes happens and we can communicate in a different way. Okay. I just wanted to say that.
No, it's nice.
It's
It's important, and I really like that.
But that wasn't answering your question.
That's all right. No, I really like the value, and because words are important, and that you're
right.
really
so you said
keen
about
on it.
the word. Well, the thing is that that's not to say, and I'm sure there might be people who may be listening to this who say, yes, I have suffered, or I see my relative and they are suffering. That's not to say that suffering isn't a part of life and isn't necessarily can be a part of living with a dementia. But what's important is a lot of people who are speaking out about how they feel about their dementia in the earlier stages are really clear about not using the word sufferer, because what that does is that makes us see people as other, it makes us feel fearful, and it stops us listening. And it stops us communicating. And actually, what's interesting is a lot of the people that we work with are wanting to talk about how they're suffering, but we'd never say, "Oh, it's about suffering." It's about they want to know they're telling us what it's like to be alive in the situation that they're in. And so because staff work so hard, and it's a very challenging environment for people to be working in, we can come in as artists, and we've got the luxury of the time, the luxury of supervision, and we can allow someone. So, for example, if someone's saying, am I dead? Say someone's saying that. And a member of staff, quite really understandably, may say to them, you're not dead, you're here, and we really, you're happy, you're fine, you're taken care of. But actually that person's got an emotional feeling of, am I dead? And so we can work with that.
Yeah.
So it's not about pushing things under the carpet, but that word suffering just comes with so many connotations. I think we need to listen to what people are saying. And I just want to put a shout out to the Deep Empowerment Network, who are really making a space for people in the early stages of dementia to really talk about how they want to be talked about. And there's a great thing that you can download actually about what words are okay and acceptable. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, definitely. We'll put them in the description as well so people can get involved. Okay, you've said listening there a number of times, and kind of this idea of the space to be heard as our kind of overarching topic. Listening, I assume, is kind of one of the central pins of what this is all about. What can people out there do, be it either working with kind of people maybe experiencing or living with dementia, or other forms of other situations, or just in everyday life, who are maybe feeling that they're not able to express themselves? What are some of the universal things around listening that you think there is the opportunity for us to kind of be doing a bit more of, or that you've learned that can apply to every I'm going to say inverted commas, like everyday kind of situations? I
think it's really difficult to sort of just sum things up now, but really about a person is where they are, and you are where you are in your communication. So wanting someone to say something that they're not saying is of no help, and that's actually, like, with or without dementia, that's useful, isn't it, in every relationship we have. So if you bring expectations to any relationship, or you're going to feel let down, and in any way of communication. And I think I acknowledge how hard that is. Our work is about it's being in that space with the person, but what comes first in that space is relationship, and then second to that is words.
Okay, and so I guess would that be the place to start, just space and relationships, and
it can
need the words?
Yeah, it can be very hard, but a person can't be gone. They just can't. They're always them, and I know that can be really. I believe that it can be really difficult for people to hear when someone is not being who this person has been. But if you sort of strip it back to actually, the identities that we have are the sort of most creative act that we do. We do throughout our lives, creating a sense of identity. And if we, stripping that back, then who is that person? They're still the same. They're still the person. They may not be into the same things, but they're still that essential person.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, this is very inspiring stuff, and it's lovely. Love to have the space to just explore.
On a bit of a tangent.
Explore. No, it's good. Okay, I'm going to come to some maybe more specific take-home. Some questions or some take-home things that we can put out there for people. So the first one would be, what would you say as a what if? What would be a possibility or an opportunity for the future that I guess is a sense of what you see is can happen in the future that you'd like to share or inspire with other people?
Oh, I wish I'd prepared these.
Or just something that can be put out into the world as a, what if? I wonder what would happen if we could be a different way. Or not be a different way, see something that maybe other people haven't seen that you want to just shine a light on.
I think, as we're talking to each other now, actually, the communication, what if the communication always happens between us and not in our heads with judgment with each other?
Okay, nice. So I can't think of a better way of saying that. I was going to try and summarise, but no, very good. Okay, nice. And what one question would you like to ask? Anyone out there that you, because you genuinely because you want to know more about them. Do you know what?
I feel a bit emotional being asked that question, because what came into my head was, actually, I want to ask all the people that we're working with, the individuals, and particularly some individuals that are springing to my mind that I'm working with at the moment, what can we do better?
Okay, very nice. And finally, what would be a call to action that anyone out there watching can do?
I feel that, one thing, if you know someone who's experiencing dementia in the earliest stages of dementia, go online, look for the Deep Network, and there are a lot of people experiencing dementia who are talking about their experience. You could listen to some podcasts that I made recently, which is it's called Talking Life, and that was made. I'm part of a hub at Welcome called Created Out of Mind, and if you just go into your podcast app, Talking Life, there are 9 podcasts, 7 of which are people in the earlier stages of dementia, and they're just conversations about topics that people chose to talk about. So people may talk about their dementia or not. And then there are 2 podcasts out of that 9, which are people who had relatives who were living with dementia, who sadly are no longer alive, but they're talking about their experience and their mutual experience. So yeah, you can listen to that as well. It's a bit of a plug there. But the call to action, I suppose, around communication. Do you know what? I had one, and it went because I went off on the on the podcasts. It was. Let me just take a minute. I like to think that it's not someone doesn't have challenging behaviour; they're distressed in their situation, and a person with dementia doesn't have the communication problems. It's us without dementia who have the communication issue to make sure that we can communicate together. So maybe could that be a call to action? Yeah. And
so would that be to always remember, then come with that point of view and remember that when we're dealing with...
to act on it.
To act on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice one. Susanna?
I might have to come back to you on that.
Yeah, we can add too. Susanna, thank you very much indeed. It's been wonderful chatting. Where can people go to find out more information?
So it's Living Words, and you can go to our website, and also Facebook and Twitter and all of the social media.
livingwords.org.uk and Living Words on Facebook.
And something I haven't said, which I'd really like to say, is that we were lucky enough to get some Arts Council funding, and we are training writers in Folkestone to start having our residencies more in Folkestone.
Brilliant.
So that's starting in a couple of weeks.
Good stuff. So is it should people writers be getting involved, or you've already
we have the writers that we're going to be working with, but we're going to be training more writers up over the next 18 months, 2 years.
Okay, wow, exciting stuff. Susanna, thank you very much. It's been great chatting.
Thank you.
Cheers.